had 0 D1 offers coming out of high school. He had to spend a whole entire year without electricity growing up. But once he finally got a chance at the Division I level, he nearly threw it all away. There's a lot of details left out when discussing how Tyreek Hill became the all-pro wide receiver we all know today. But we're about to dive into all of it right now because this is what they aren't telling you about the rise of Tyreek Hill. When Tyreek Hill was born, his parents were very young, so they gave custody of him to his grandparents who raised him. His grandma said by the time Tyreek was 3, she couldn't catch him when they played football in the yard. He was already that fast at such a young age. But life wasn't easy for Hill growing up. Some nights he went to bed hearing his grandma cry because they were without electricity. The town Tyreek grew up in only had a population of just over 2,000 people. His freshman year of high school, Tyreek excelled on the field, but going to such a small high school didn't allow him to get on any college's radars. His grandpa knew his grandson's gift couldn't go to waste, so he moved his family 20 minutes away to a bigger town with more sports resources. Once Tyreek got to his new high school, he started running track and it quickly became his best sport. In the 200-meter, Hill ran a 2014, which is the second fastest time in the history of high school track. That time also would have been the fastest in the NCAA that year, and also would have placed Tyreek 6th in the 2012 Olympics that happened that year. Hill won the state title in multiple track events, which had big SEC schools like LSU and Georgia trying to recruit him for track. But the problem was he didn't have the school grades. So the colleges said, hey, here's what we're gonna do. You should go to this JUCO school called Garden City Community College in Kansas, get the grades you need, and then you will be able to accept our scholarship offer. After high school, Tyreek told his grandparents he wanted to take a gap year because he wasn't ready to leave home yet. But his grandma said, no, we're not doing that. Go pack your bags. You're going to Kansas, because she feared that if he took a gap year, he would never want to leave his hometown. Once Tyreek got to Garden City, a friend of his, Nick Marshall, who went on to be Auburn's starting quarterback, convinced him to come out and play for the Garden City football team. Marshall asking Tyreek to join him on the football team changed his life. He was impressive during his first JUCO football season, but during his second year, Tyreek finally got on the radar of college scouts after tallying over 1,000 all-purpose yards. After his sophomore season, Hill became a 4-star recruit and the number 3 ranked JUCO recruit in the country. After receiving offers from powerhouses like Alabama, Georgia, Texas, and more, Hill decided to commit to Oklahoma State University as he felt most comfortable around the people there. There were big expectations for the speedy wide receiver on the OSU campus. In 12 games, he rushed for 434 yards, averaging 5.2 yards per carry, while also racking up 281 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. Also, on December 6th, he did this to help OSU complete the comeback versus Oklahoma. But on December 11th, 2014, just a few months after arriving on OSU's campus, things came crashing down for Tyreek. He messed up badly. His future, not just on the football field, but also off it, was possibly destroyed. Hill was arrested for assaulting his then pregnant girlfriend. He was swiftly kicked off the school's football and track team. After initially pleading not guilty, Hill pleaded guilty in a plea deal, which resulted in him being on probation for 3 years. After Tyreek was dismissed from OSU, he had to move back to his hometown in Georgia to live with his grandparents. At this time, Hill said he lost everything from friends to family, but still had his core unit of his grandparents and parents who had his back. During his time back home, Tyreek went to work with his grandfather at a wood plant. A few months later, Hill got a call from Chattanooga University. The coach said, you can come play for us, you just gotta go talk to the school president. So Tyreek got in his car and drove all the way from southern Georgia to Chattanooga. But when he arrived on campus, the school said they couldn't accept him due to his past. At this point, Tyreek contemplated quitting football. But as he was driving home from Chattanooga, he got a call from West Alabama's coach asking him if he was ready to play football for them. So then, instead of driving back home to Georgia, Tyreek drove straight to Alabama and played in the team's game the next day, where he returned 2 punts for touchdowns. After having over 900 total yards in 11 games at West Alabama, Hill declared for the 2016 draft. Despite declaring for the draft, many experts expected him to go undrafted due to his legal history. Hill wasn't invited to the NFL scouting combine, but some teams did show up to his pro day where he ran a 4.29 40-yard dash, which was faster than every single player's 40 time at the official NFL combine. Draft day arrived and the Chiefs selected Hill in the 5th round, which was met with tons of backlash, anger, and criticism by fans and media members.
It was only 16 months ago, and it was a very ugly incident if you read a police report and stuff. What did he say or do that convinced you that he really has changed and that the community isn't in danger?
Andy Reid assured everyone that the team heavily vetted Hill and were confident that the counseling he was going through was working. When Hill finally spoke to the media before rookie minicamp, he said this, quote, "The fans have every right to be mad at me. I did something wrong. I let my emotions get the best of me, and I shouldn't have did it. They have every right to be mad, but guess what? I'm fixing to come back, be a better man, be a better citizen, and everything takes care of itself, and let God do the rest." Before Tyreek left for college, he promised his family he would come back a millionaire so they would never have to live without power again. After he made it to the league, Tyreek was able to give them the stability he promised. Hill started his rookie season primarily as a return specialist and was listed as the 4th wide receiver on the Chiefs depth chart behind Jeremy Maclin, Chris Conley, and Albert Wilson. His breakout game came in Week 8 where he had 98 receiving yards and a touchdown. Hill finished his rookie season with 860 yards from scrimmage, 9 touchdowns from scrimmage, and 3 punt/kick return touchdowns on top of that. Hill was named a first-team All-Pro his rookie season as a punt returner and was also a Pro Bowler. His sophomore season was his first 1,000-yard receiving season where he yet again made the Pro Bowl. By the way, he's made the Pro Bowl in every single season of his career. But his true breakout season came once Patrick Mahomes took over as the Chiefs' starting QB in 2018. In his 3rd NFL season, Hill had over 1,400 receiving yards and 13 total touchdowns. He also broke the record for the most receiving yards in a single season by a Chiefs player that year. Then in the 2019 season Super Bowl, Tyreek had 9 receptions and over 100 receiving yards, helping the Chiefs win it all. The following season, in a late November game versus the Bucs, Tyreek had the greatest single-game performance of his career, hauling in 13 receptions for 269 yards and 3 touchdowns. Following the 2021 season, Hill requested a trade from the Chiefs. But what gets glossed over a lot is that Tyreek actually wanted to stay in KC. Tyreek talked with Andy Reid in the front office and said he wanted his contract to match AJ Brown's. The problem was the Chiefs weren't going to give him the guaranteed money that his agent thought he should get. Then Miami called and said they would give him $72 million guaranteed and also make him the highest paid receiver in the NFL. Hill and his agent gave KC a chance to match Miami's guaranteed money, but the Chiefs decided it was best to trade him. His first season in Miami was statistically his best yet, with over 1,700 receiving yards, which set a new franchise record for the most receiving yards in a single season by a Dolphins player. Now this season, just 11 games into the year, Hill has over 1,300 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns, meaning he could possibly break the 2,000-yard mark. And honestly, with no QB playing so outstanding this year, I definitely think Tyreek Hill deserves some MVP votes. Another wide receiver that really flew under the radar of NFL scouts was Puka Nacua, and I did a whole video about his rise. If you like this video, you should check it out up here.